How's it going? We'll give just a little bit of a second for people to join. Yeah, cool. We have a few people who joined. I will go ahead and start sharing. Cool. As this is being recorded, I'll just go over. We'll basically do what we did in the Discord yesterday. Um, I will go through a little bit of preamble first, and then yeah, we can pill someone up and then go through their deck. And then we also have Arnaud joining us this time, so we can get some more feedback from him. So I will start sharing. So, cool. Cool. All right. So first, I want to just go over the structure. I think it's been mentioned a lot in office hours, but I want to like lay it out officially. This is a structure that I'd like you guys to use for presentations. I've mentioned it to a lot of you guys already, but I want to go over it directly here. It's just really these few slides, and I want you guys to really try to be as concise as possible with each. The problem slide is really trying to define what the pain is. We've talked in office hours a lot about whether your solution is a painkiller or a vitamin. The problem really is meant to lead into the solution. So whatever problem you define, you want to make sure that that clearly builds up to the solution, and the solution should be something that actually kills the problem, doesn't just address it. In office hours, we've talked to this analogy of like a painkiller versus a vitamin. Your solution should be the painkiller for the problem that you describe or that you detail. The solution then is um, the elegant way in which you address the problem. The demo I've mentioned many times to you guys also in office hours that the demo should show. So many of you guys have had some slides where you're telling about what you built. The demo should actually address that, and it should highlight what's unique. So if you're talking through a slide that has the unique way in which you're using MPC or using some of the libraries that we went over in NoirHack, you want to make sure that the demo actually addresses that, and you kill two birds with one stone. I don't want to see like more slides explaining the solution in detail when you can actually show it in the demo. And then I've mentioned this a lot too, using a story that's compelling will just make it a lot more interesting. And then we've talked about opportunity a good bit. I think this depends on what it is that you're trying to do. For many of you guys that are more on the education side, market sizing may not make as much sense, but this is just showcasing what excites people or what would excite you or what excites you about the vision of this. So for a few of you that are building products that you intend to get users for, that is market sizing. But for you guys that are doing more like games, this is more the vision piece. And then finally, like what are you looking to do next? Like what are additional features that you didn't have time to do in NoirHack? What's next for you and for your team? And then the last piece is who you are, your team itself. So I've seen you guys now adding this, which is really important. I think like for judges to connect with your story more, I think it's important to share a little bit about your team. And then I think this is something I put together right before this, but I want you to think about these three C's, the three C's of constraints. So this is conciseness, clarity, and connection. So conciseness, a forcing function that Arnaud suggested, which I think is a really good one, is to limit to about 15 words a slide. I'm not doing it here, but I think if you can do it, it will really force you to limit the amount of content that you show. I think that many of you guys are trying to explain your technical implementation in a lot of detail. Remember, the judges can see this in your actual submission and in your GitHub. So you don't have to go through all of the technical complexity of what you're building, as we will be able to see that. So really try to focus on the presentation and showing what it is that you've done. And then in this clarity aspect, I think just thinking about like these few questions, like what even is it? What does it do? And why is it cool? And for you guys that were in office hours yesterday, I was mentioning to think about like how you talk to a friend of yours. So instead of using a bunch of jargon, how would you talk to someone that you are just like sitting and having a beer with or having coffee with? And then the last bit kind of relates to this, just connection, making the demo especially connect and making it something that people can like understand and relate to, especially if it's a story that applies to a lot of people. I think it makes it a lot easier for people to understand like why what you're building is cool. And then now let's go ahead and apply this. We can pull someone up and then walk through their demo. It'll give them a chance to practice, and then we can give them feedback. So I have given a few people the option to speak. Stratos, if you'd like, you could go ahead and share. I think you guys are open bands.
Yes, I'm here. I'm just not too sure how to share the screen here over Zoom.
Let me see. I'll promote you
I
to
join
panelists.
this.
There you go. Are you able to share?
Big green button in the bottom bar.
Bottom left, no?
Yes. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, perfect. But how do I share my screen?
And so there's a share button with a black arrow and a green square. It should be in the middle of the toolbar.
Okay, yeah. Got it.
Well, I've seen your latest update. I'm excited to see what you share here today.
Yeah. I have to give permission to my screen. I have to quit and reopen Zoom.
Okay, well, let's go
Classic.
to
All right.
Jay. No worries, no worries.
Hello. Yeah. Okay, I can. Yes, I can.
Cool, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I am. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Okay, hello everyone. I am Jay, and I am building Secret Trust, a zero knowledge verified review platform. So why I'm building Secret Trust? The problem is there are a lot of fake reviews on any web service. For example, Google reviews, Trustpilot, Yelp, and my motivation is to address this issue, and you'll see later in this presentation that it's such a big problem right now on the web. And my solution is to provide a platform where any person can give a review if they have verified proof that they actually use that service. So the problem is like Google reviews or Trustpilot or the many other services provide the review platform, but they have so many fake reviews, both positive and negative. Some competitors manipulate their reviews so that they can affect the ratings of their competition. And the opposite is also true. They also favor themselves by improving their rating, by spamming the good reviews. So I added the sources too. The one of the biggest one is Trustpilot, which is mostly used for software as a service, or the most of the businesses are on Trustpilot, which uses Trustpilot review system to showcase on their websites, like they have good reviews. The same with Amazon. Amazon is also accused of this market manipulation with the reviews. Market share and revenue. This is like the Trustpilot, Yelp, and Google reviews. They are the big three in this area of the web, and this is another user just ranting the problem. The project overview is just providing zero knowledge proofs to verify the user's claim, and then they can submit the reviews. So workflow is pretty simple. You upload an email receipt, you generate a proof, and then there's a backend verification, and then you do the review submission. I can show you the demo quickly. So this is how Trustpilot works. You can just log in and can submit the review for any company without even using the product. For example, I did not use the account that I used for Gumroad. This is just random account I using to post the review right now. And then you can submit the review. There's no verification. I can post any date whenever I use the service. And it just says like, oh, you confirm that it's true, but there's no checking. How it happens on ZK Trust is you choose the email receipt, you upload it, and then a proof is generated. So you have the option to do on-chain proving using Base or the standard proving using my backend server. So even if the user who is not familiar with Web3 can do this submission too. But if they want to make it decentralized, they can prove it on Base too. And yes, then you submit the review. Next slide. You can take it even further beyond. I just did for Gumroad, Anthropic, and Booking.com, but you can add it for any service which uses the email for the receipt, Yelp and Glassdoor or TripAdvisor. Any service industries basically can utilize this service. Thank you. I haven't added this slide from yesterday. I had to do it, so quite similar.
Cool. All right. I don't know if you want to walk through some feedback.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty clear, pretty good presentation. I'd say if there's anything that I change, you can afford to cut things down even more. So in the second slide, I think it was with the timeline, you'll notice that actually the 3 points largely say the same thing.
Yes.
So you can just state the problem, right? Fake reviews plague many popular platforms, undermining trust and balance. That could be your slide. I think I definitely relate with the impetus of filling a slide up. Like it feels like if it's too empty, something is wrong. But actually, there's no new information in the timeline, in the solution, my motivation. You can just have one sentence and kind of keep people focused on the key bits of information for each slide. The second thing, Graphy, with the addressable market stats, and I've never seen a total addressable market stat and have that bring anything to a presentation, if I'm completely honest. People will be familiar with Trustpilot, with Yelp, with Google reviews. Everyone is a consumer of reviews. I think you can get rid of this slide, which is just about the fact this problem is only going to get worse, right? It's something that with especially the lowering cost of generating fake reviews is just with AI models, it's just going to get worse and worse until the point where reviews have no value anymore. And if you cut down some of your slides, you can even, for example, cut down some of the examples that you list. I think they're good, but they're a little bit repetitive, right? I think we get the picture, and we've all experienced the problem. I suspect. You can even afford to talk about maybe how you would want to improve the user experience. Downloading an EMI file might be beyond the the scope for a lot of users. Maybe you'd want to just point at the fact that this is a tool that's going to be valuable for platforms that host reviews anyways. So like Trustpilot may want an API to do this that you might be able to provide. So yeah, the more you cut down on the more you kind of focus on key bits of information, the more room you have for I'd say like more valuable bits that you may be skipping at the moment because it already feels quite full.
Got it. Thank you. I actually not even thought about the API idea. That's a good one. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe let's keep walking through these slides so far. So you were I think this also Some of this we discussed yesterday, and I don't think you had a chance to change some of it. But I think like if you go
Yeah,
through some of this, if you go
today I only recorded the new demo because I managed to integrate the base and I wanted to record that.
with this new demo, you're spending a good amount of time showcasing how Trustpilot works. But then with your so you highlighted that there's no verification that anyone can review.
Mm-hmm.
I think showing that in your demo more clearly, like so okay. Yeah, and then you're uploading. Yeah, in general, I think like we talked about this, but making the demo tie to some story or some use case. And I think like the example of Trustpilot in the beginning is not as necessary. You can even just mention that, or maybe in the problem slide or in some place you can mention or just share that Trustpilot has no verification. That's like to me the core part of the problem. So I don't know if you need to show like Trustpilot's UI. Instead, you can just go into
Mm.
the demo, and then I think
Okay.
for the demo, just showing or talking through a story that like, hey, I need this verification because I'm someone who's like selling courses, or I'm someone who's um, trying to build a community, and I don't have any
Mm-hmm.
trust that any of these people are actually real, and I want to give them some rewards or something. I think like having that be a part of it would be really cool. And then some of the slides, like the project overview, you can address in the demo. And then, yeah, what Arnaud said of just making this UX more streamlined should be part of the next steps. Um, but otherwise, I think, yeah, it's
Got it.
coming together a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
and
I
I hope the overview that I gave will help guide it. I think this forcing function of just having a maximum of 15 words a slide will help to clean up some of it.
Got it. Thank you.
two last things maybe, and then I think we have time to step through another example potentially. The first is just one thing that I find quite cool. You know how torrents used to work, where you could
Yes.
only
Mm-hmm.
download if you had, a reputation score. I think that might be a cool way to get people to picture how this could become a product is actually what you're getting people to do is contribute reviews so that they can get access to real reviews, just
Mm-hmm.
uh, as a product note. And then, or just like that to me is quite appealing as an idea. And then the second is for if you're ever wondering whether your slide is clear enough or minimal enough, I always advise people take your slide deck, walk up to a friend in real life that doesn't necessarily have context on your project, and have your laptop open facing towards you, walk up to them, turn your laptop towards them, step through the slides as quickly as possible, turn your laptop away, and ask them what you should just showed them. If they can have even just a vague sense, a vague whiff of what you actually showed them, I think your slides are simple enough. If they have no idea, you can simplify even more.
Fine. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a good framework. Cool.
Are we
Stratos, if
should I
you're
go to
ready.
Stratos? Yeah.
Yep, should work now. Yeah. Let me choose my screen. All right, you should be able to see it now.
Yes, go
Perfect.
for it.
So I'm introducing OpenBands, which is a verified company reviews and salary reports site. The problem we have identified is that current job boards lack the ability to provide verified company reviews and salary reports. So if we take a look at Glassdoor, there's no verification step, no control that you actually work for the company and that you actually receive that salary that you have reported. And this leads to misleading data. And yeah. So I personally went to Upwork, which is a similar site like Fiverr. You can hire freelancers. And just to showcase how easy it is to populate positive reviews for your company. I just put up a post, a job post, and within minutes I got several messages from people that are offering their service to promote my business with fake reviews. Another problem is that Glassdoor also has an award for best places to work, and we can see in this research study that for a company there was a spike just very close before the best companies to work at award was dropped. So this also highlights the importance of verified reviews. Glassdoor, as of right now, has reportedly over 200 million reviews and salary reports, which are unverified, from over 2.5 million companies. So this shows that there's actually a real huge market for this and how much it is used. According to Glassdoor, a strong employer brand can also reduce the cost per hire by as much as 50%. And a negative reputation can cost a company as much as 10% per hire. And the solution we have come up with is OpenBands, which is a platform for verified company reviews and salary reports. So in the end, we are providing the ability to job seekers and employees to have accurate and reliable insights. Now let's go over to the demo and showcase how it works. So this is the site. You can log in with your work account. For now, it's gmail.com. I'm going to use my private one. And yeah, you logged in through your account, and we verify that you actually work at the company, since your domain ending will be at amazon.com, at google.com, or whatever company it is you're working at. Then you can input your position title and the amount of your salary you receive. And you can also rate the company over 6 different dimensions, right? And then you can create a report with these 3 inputs. In an updated version, we will also provide, this is also pretty much done, that you can upload an EML file, so an email which contains your position and salary information. So it is actually also verified, because right now it's just these freely available input fields. So we have here a report, and anyone can verify it and be sure that the data is accurate and correct. So yeah, this is the market that we're tapping into. The recruitment and staffing market is the overall market, which is 520 billion big, actually. And Glassdoor's sub-market is the online recruitment market, focusing on job boards. And their market share is about 9.10%, which is huge compared to the overall market. What's up next for us? So we know that verifying your salary and position over an email is not the optimal solution, because most companies don't send any these kinds of information via email. You either get a PDF file or you get a bank transfer. So we're looking to work with the open banking standard, which is being rolled out in the EU and UK, and also in the US in the coming year, which is an international standard. And then we're looking to prove off-chain bank-to-bank payments. Then we're also looking to enable submissions for ex-employees. If you no longer work at the company, or you obviously no longer have an email address from that company. So we're looking to also incorporate a feature to leave a review after you left the company. And then we are also emphasizing on privacy and want to deploy on the AdStack blockchain, ultimately creating a job board for verified and accurate reviews, so companies can post their roles and hire their talents. A little bit about ourselves. I'm Stratos. I'm self-started in the crypto niche since 2015. And I partnered with Masaun from Japan during NoirHack. And he's a proficient developer with 7 years experience, also won multiple prizes. And we really both are inspired by the idea to create private applications that enable an actual use case for this specific type of verified reviews for Glassdoor and company reviews. Yeah, that
Cool.
is
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to see the selective disclosure stuff once it's live. Hopefully you can finish that
yeah,
before
yeah.
or before submission for sure. And then yeah, let's like maybe just step backwards. I'll go real quick. I think I've seen this now once before. Yeah, I think in general the problem is really like hammered maybe too many times. There's like
Okay.
a lot of data. I think you could consolidate some of it and make it a little bit more simple,
Yeah,
and really pick like what is the most impactful. So you have like problem, and you have another problem,
yeah, true.
and
This is
then
the slide I
another.
added today. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like
Mhm.
really focus on the pain here. Like what is the issue with like Glassdoor specifically, and how are you guys addressing it? And then if you go keep going, um, yeah, so there's quite a lot. This is also, I guess, like kind of market or opportunity. So I think this could go maybe after. I think you have kind of two opportunity slides. I agree with Arnaud that market sizing in this way is not as like compelling or as exciting. Like
Mhm.
I think about it like opportunity as I laid out in that structure, and try to combine this with maybe the slide 10, where like to me this is like the opportunity slide that hey, there's like so many people who are using Glassdoor. All those reviews are unverified,
Yeah.
and I think like you could maybe even use 6 instead of 10, or
Okay.
something like 6. I like the structure of 6 and how simple it is.
Yeah.
But I think you could skip 6, or you skip 10, I guess. You could
Okay.
and prioritize something that like really shows that this is opportunity. Then
Mhm.
go to 7.
Mhm.
7. Yeah, this is also kind of like more opportunity. I think you have multiple slides around opportunity. I think you can like combine some of it.
Mhm.
Then solution, um, open bands. Yeah, I think this also, actually, Arnaud, any thoughts on this solution slide?
I'll zoom out. I think you need to limit yourself to 4 slides. You don't need more than 4 slides. This is not a difficult idea to get, right?
Mhm.
That's my number one recommendation is put yourself the challenge of communicating what you want to communicate in 4 slides.
Like the whole presentation, you mean, in four
The whole
slides?
presentation should be 4 slides instead of 12. Just cut it down by 3. You
Okay.
don't need 4 slides on the problem.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
slide is plenty, you know?
Okay.
And the second point is in the demo, to me, it looks pretty indistinguishable at the moment from just OAuth validation of like a subdomain.
Mhm.
And I think it would be quite valuable to try and highlight the zero knowledge proofness of it. I think that the method of authentication, or the method of like what you're trying to prove. I'm assuming you're just proving the JWT you
Yes.
generated. Yeah. Um, uh, it's maybe worth thinking of highlighting, for example, the EML file of an offer from a company
Mm.
might be appealing as a demo. You might not want to share your full offer terms publicly with a website that you don't know.
Mhm.
But if you can convince yourself that it's client side, then maybe more people will do it. And similar to what I said about the about ZK Trust, I'd put a lot more emphasis. You can replace, I think, what you're trying to communicate with the market size with maybe a bit more of a picture of like what's the user behavior, right? If you ship this, like what does this provide to users, right? Because in the abstract, it's beneficial for the world as a public good if there's more verified information about salaries, about company reviews, these kinds of things. But what's the that's not how a user thinks, right? A user doesn't think I'm going to contribute to the public good by verifying my salary via zero-knowledge proof. Like, what is it that you're trying to get them access to? Like, what is it that they want to participate in that you can gate by forcing them essentially to create a zero-knowledge proof? And to wrap back around to my initial prompt of really cutting down the number of slides, that's what you're trying to get people to think about, right? It's like, I think this is cool because zero-knowledge proofs enable X or Y user story that I find compelling. Everyone has looked at Glassdoor, right? Glassdoor is very similar to Trustpilot. Everyone knows about Glassdoor. You don't need to introduce the idea, but I don't think very many people post reviews, and I don't think very many people like spend a lot of their day thinking about Glassdoor review, except maybe some recruiters. So yeah, anyways, cut down the number of slides aggressively.
Okay.
Focus on like the demo on kind of highlighting the fact that it's client side to try to really make that clear, and then say something about what a user might experience or why a user might want to use the product.
All right. Okay. 4 slides in total. Okay. I will look where to cut and what to change.
The good news is if you get to like 4 slides and you're like, I really need to make this point. It's okay if you add a 5th slide.
Yeah.
But if you don't give yourself some constraint, you end up with 12 slides and 4
true.
problem slides.
True. Okay. Yeah, I guess I can remove this slide market size overview and combine it with this slide, which you mentioned that it is also like the opportunity, and then remove a couple of the problem slides.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
I unfortunately have to run. I'm assuming, Rafi, you have time to stay on for further questions, but hit me up on Discord or on Twitter or on even email if you have more questions. I'm really looking forward to the proper demo day.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Arnaud. So could you go back to the demo itself?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think the points that Arnaud made are really valid. That if you could spend some time going over like what is happening with JWT, like briefly, like Arnaud said, really, otherwise it's just like a Google auth, and I think in addition to me showcasing the ZK email part would be like a really key part of the demo, being able to show that part. I think Arnaud also said something very important, which is that you could say that, hey, this is all verified, this is client side, you have an open source code base versus Glassdoor, which is closed, so people can verify that that this is legit. And I think I mentioned this in the front half of this session that the demo should also have some kind of way for me to connect with it through ideally a user story. So I think you could spend a little bit of time in the demo answering some of the questions that Arnaud had around like what makes this cool by having some story of a person who wants to verify an employer. I also think in general that the way that you would start getting users is with crypto. Like I think trying to explain this to people who are just normal folks who are working at big Fortune 500 companies is quite hard. But for people who work in crypto or work in the privacy space, they are ready to use a tool like this. And a tool like this, if it existed, I think could acquire all those people. So I think having some mention or tie in either in the demo of that it's like an important aspect. Like I've seen a few of the demos that are maybe around more dating and stuff kind of like lean into this in a funny way. I think that could be one way to make it more exciting. I think in general also that the stuff I said in the front half of like really simplifying to the point where you're able to explain to like a friend over a beer, over coffee, try to apply that heuristic. And I think like what Arnaud said, I really liked of, hey, if you just had these slides, you flip through them with a friend, would they be able to understand?
Yeah.
I think this general rule of like, could I explain this to a friend? Could I explain it simply? This is a really good forcing function. So I think like some of what you have now so far, if you go back to the deck, is like a bit too like technical and not simple enough, as far as especially as far as the market. And like Arnaud said, a lot of the stuff with Glassdoor, it's self-explanatory or more easily understood. So then it's more meaningful to explain the parts that are unique. The way of thinking about it, I think, is like, hey, what's cool about this? And I think really the part that's cool is the ZK part, and understanding that. Like I know for some folks, I've said, hey, don't spend too much time on the technical portion. But I think in your case, you could spend a bit more talking about what's cool about this
About this.
from the technical
Yeah.
perspective. Yeah.
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 Okay, got it. Just a quick question regarding you mentioned mentioning a user story in the demo, and I'm thinking to myself, what kind of story could it be? Like, should it be a made-up story or something that I read in the internet, or uh, like how exactly should I tie a story to the demo showcase?
I think it should be a made up story. The example, like, so how I would describe it is like, I'm a person who's looking to get a new job, or I just left a company, or that's what I mean by story of
Okay.
like, and it can be like a bit silly or even somewhat contrived, as long as you are able to um, kind of better explain like how all these pieces work together.
See.
That's the idea, is you have a through line with the demo that can showcase, and with many people, like for yourself with Glassdoor, it's very self-explanatory. So then you want to use the demo, you want to use the story to like tie in these other aspects, like that we had just talked about, of technical components, that help to like better understand like why it is that someone would use this.
Okay.
So like that story could be like, yeah, I just didn't trust Glassdoor, or I really wanted verification. I don't know if that's the best example, but some way in which you can tie together these pieces to make it like more cohesive. And in the Glassdoor example, yeah, it's maybe somewhat more difficult because a lot of it is self-explanatory, so you don't want to add too much fat.
Yeah.
I think the same kind of like conciseness that Arnaud mentioned with the slides, you should also apply to the demo.
Yeah.
Much of this, like with even like the rating stuff, is very self-explanatory to anyone who's familiar with Glassdoor, which is basically everyone.
Yeah.
Then it's more just focusing on what's unique and what's exciting. And I think that, to me at least, that a story to tie that together just makes it more interesting.
I see. All right. Makes sense. Yeah.
Cool.
All
Cool.
right.
Awesome. Well, thanks. I think like, yeah, your presentation is coming together really well. I think like you still have a few more days before
Yeah.
submission.
Exactly.
So I think you'll be in a really good position.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
cool. Thanks, everyone. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I would just want to mention the biggest thing that or biggest challenge right now is the front end implementation. So it is working on the backend side, like with downloading an email file and proving the position and salary. And we're working on the front end right now to showcase it better in the demo. So I hope it will be done. And then we also have to deploy it on chain, right, for the final submission. If
You
I
don't have to deploy on chain. So on chain, so you like
yeah.
whatever implementation you've built, the requirements are just to use Noir. So what you do as far as Web 2 or Web 3 is optional. It's more just a question of what tracks you're going for. So for instance, like if you're trying to work with Starknet, then
Mhm.
obviously you'd need to have some on-chain component. Um, Whereas like for what you guys are doing, really like the star is ZK and using
Yeah.
Noir client
Yeah.
side. So
Yeah.
you don't actually need an on-chain
Ah,
component for
okay.
what
Okay.
you're
Okay.
building. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It
good
would be
because I
great.
asked
It would be
Lisa.
nice to have. Yeah.
Yeah, I asked Lisa and she said it's required to put it on chain, but that's probably for other more technical use cases, I guess.
Yeah, it depends like what track you're
Depends.
targeting. So,
Yeah.
so for your use case, it would be very cool to be able to verify and then put something on chain that shows
Mm.
the verification, like on
Mm.
Base or some. So that there are some like implications of being able to do this on chain. I also think like anything on chain would strengthen your credibility around like being a like crypto focused like
Yeah.
Glassdoor, like
Yeah.
for people like in the industry. I think like I would be very excited to be able to like verify and then I don't know get some kind of incentive or like share that
Yeah. Absolutely.
review. So
Yeah.
that to me also seems like doable here in the next like few days.
Mm.
If you're able to especially integrate with like a popular L2 like base,
Yeah.
there are potential rewards for that type of integration
Okay.
and but yeah, that is not like mandatory or required for your submission.
I see.
For
I
anyone
see.
listening, also for people who are listening to the recording, it's not a mandatory part.
Okay. Yeah, we plan to do it, but regarding the time, we focus more on the front end side now. And if we have the time, we will also obviously look to deploy on base. But time-wise, front end is more important right now, I'd say.
Yeah, and you can even showcase certain features on the front end that are not yet completed, like that you intend to add. So you could have, like, I would still focus heavily on your front end, and you could add an option that shows, like, okay, now you can mint a review NFT or
Mm.
something like that as a little button. I
Mm.
think right now, one area that is lacking, because I think your deck, like presentation wise, looks great, is just making the front end like more exciting. Right now,
Yeah.
this looks very simple and somewhat boring. I think if you can like just even vibe code a little bit to find a structure and style that looks like a bit more interesting, and then if you
Mm.
can showcase like things like the email verification, and then even something that you can clarify in the demo, hey, this is something we haven't implemented yet, but this is something we've implemented on the front end to show you
Okay.
how it could work. That type of stuff in general, for those
Mm.
of you listening either via recording or now, like that will help people to visualize like what it is you're going for and what the vision of it is, right? So even if it's not fully complete.
Right. Got it. All right. Thank you very much.
Cool, awesome. Then we'll end it here. I'm glad we got to help two teams. And like Arnaud said, we are available via Discord, Signal, Telegram, however you are able to reach me to provide more feedback in the last few days, building up to the demo day. And so we will have submissions reviewed here after, like shortly after, and then the final decisions for winners as well, like within the timeline of next week. But yeah, very excited. Thank you guys for those of you that joined live, and we'll see you soon. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank